Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at the pre-release promos for Temporal Forces. Now, I told you what they were going to be the other day. I told you the 4 Pokemon that we were going to be getting, but I told you I couldn't show them to you, and I couldn't. We had listings of promos, and when we get these promo lists, right, we've seen this a million times before. If you're as nerdy and obsessive about the game as I am, and I am, then you can look at these promo lists and basically figure out what all these promos are, where they're coming from, and then when you see, 4 in a row that aren't coming anywhere else, but they were all in Cyber Judge and Wild Force in Japan, that tells you that they are going to be the pre-release promos. So we knew what they were going to be, but we didn't know what they looked like, and now we do. And I already told you that in terms of playability, this is the best set of pre-release promo we've had in a long time. But also in terms of art, this is probably the best we've had in a long time. Although, just to be clear, obviously for me, the Okacheke Togekiss is just the supreme pre-release promo we've had in a while. Weirdly, no Japanese version of that. And there genuinely, legitimately might never be. So we're going to do what we always do. We're going to rank them. We're going to go through them in order. And in at number 4, the worst, it is for Alligator. I look forward to opening for Alligator if I get to open a pre-release pack. I have a weird history of always opening the one I put number 4. Which does make me want to put the best at number 4 to try and trick the universe, but that just seems a little bit cheeky. So what we've got here with for Alligator is a rather nice ability, Torrential Heart. Once during your turn, you can put 5 damage counters onto this Pokemon, and then if you do, your attacks do 120 more next turn. This turn! And then 2 energy, 160, but obviously if you use the ability, it's 2 energy, 280, which is the magic number for KOing V-Stars. And in the post-rotation format over in Japan, Lugia and Giratina, good cards, seeing a whole bunch of play, so hitting 280 is a very, very, very relevant number. The thing is, it's a stage 2, and you have to put it down to 130 HP in order to actually use this. So most of the time, this is going to be a one and done, and it's a stage 2 that you've got to bother getting up to a stage 2. That's a little bit awkward. In terms of actually at the pre-release itself, this is going to be a great Pokemon, because you won't often need to hit more than 160, and then when you do, you can get it up to 280 really quickly. That's awesome. You're only really going to be worrying about stage 2 EXs. The problem is, you're going to need to actually evolve it up. But certainly at a pre-release, if you get for Alligator into play, this is a very, very good Pokemon. In at number 3, we've got Metang, and I love all the artworks here. Like, genuinely, legitimately, I think all 4 of these artworks are brilliant. I'm probably going to get the Feraligatr and the Metang, because they're actually going to be super cheap, because they're not very playable cards. I like them very much indeed. And what we got here from the Metang is a rather lovely ability, Metal Maker, that once during your turn lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic metal to your Pokemon in any way you like. Very important to note, you attach it to your Pokemon, you do not attach it to your metal Pokemon. So you can use this to accelerate energy to anything. And then, of course, we got metal Pokemon like Copperaja, for instance, that I've always really desperately wanted to be good, but they've never actually been good, and part of the reason is lack of energy acceleration. So maybe this is where it starts getting really good. I don't know. In the pre-release itself, this is going to be good if you get the right partners. Because if you look at the pre-release kits, I'm not saying we will, but like something like a stage 1 Metang, you'll often get the pre-release Metang and then 1 or 2 regular ones. So the pre-release kit where you get all the cards, there is a decent chance that you actually get several of these, and you can have a decent line and actually get this ability firing regularly, really get the energy onto the field. But if that's going to work, you need to actually have something to attach to, some Pokemon that's going to take the energy, and that's where it gets a little bit awkward. Okay, cool. In at number 2, I'm putting Koraidon. I love Koraidon. Now, partly, I want to pull the top 2 because they're going to be the hardest to pull, etc. Or at least the hardest to pick up on the secondary market. But they are clearly the best, and the artwork is amazing. Now, I gotta mention, the regular Koraidon artwork is done by T-Zero, and is absolutely stunning. So, I mean, look, in terms of a 1-2 punch, I mean, if you're a Koraidon fan, and I know lovely Freya Pierce is a Koraidon fan, you are eating good with this set. These are both phenomenal, and Aseki Dynamic just knocked it out of the park with this one. But it's also a phenomenal card. Free energy 130, not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. Sneaky good. Because there are always those turns where you're being blocked. Always those games where your opponent is trying to stop you doing stuff. And being able to actually then turn around and use this to stop your opponent blocking your attacks is actually, like, really legitimately good. I'm a genuine big fan of this. I don't love that you need to use a fire energy to do it. That's a little bit awkward. You're not necessarily going to be playing fire energy, but it's really, really nice to have the option. But the main attack that we like here is the main attack. That first attack, Primordial Beatdown, great attack name. This attack does 30 damage for each of your ancient Pokemon in play. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Because essentially what you've got here is a way to be doing 180 damage really easily if you can get a full bench of ancient Pokemon. Now, there's always an issue here. It's got to be mentioned. There's always an issue that, what about draw power? Because a lot of the time, you may well end up in a situation where you got all your ancient Pokemon out, but you've not got anything drawing cards, or not really a good ancient draw power, and then you're kind of in a problem. So you're probably not hitting 180 much, hitting 120, 150. But that's still very, 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 very good. I have no real issue with this. And it's a deck I'm going to certainly be playing around with, because that is a lot for 2 energy. And obviously, you know, it's an ancient Pokemon, so Professor Sada's Vitality works absolutely perfectly here. And this is just a really, really, really good Pokemon. I like this very much indeed. Now, you also got to remember that in an actual pre-release, this is number 1. Most of the time, there is an exception, we'll get there in a minute. But most of the time, if you're looking to win your pre-release, this is the card you want to pull. Because, again, you get your little pack, in your Build and Battle box, you get your little pack of cards. And obviously, the pack that comes with Koraidon is going to have a bunch of ancient Pokemon. So you play a bunch of them. Hopefully you get some Sada. You would imagine they put 1 or 2 Sada in there at least. And then all of a sudden, you are just sitting there crushing with Koraidon. And yeah, in a pre-release, and it obviously always depends on which cards you get in the pack. We don't know what they are yet. But this seems to be the absolute best. When it comes to literally winning the pre-release, this seems like the one you're probably going to want the most. Which means that in at number 1, we've got Miraidon. Once again, the artwork here is absolutely stunning. And this is a great, great card. The attack free energy 160, not really. But for a single colourless energy, you deal 40 damage. And you search your deck for 2 basic energy and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like. Now, as a side note, the exception to Koraidon being the best at a pre-release is if you pull a future EX. If you pull a future EX and Miraidon, you can take a turn or 2 guaranteeing that your future EX has the right amount of energy, and then just sweep the game. So if you pull a future EX and this Miraidon, then you are absolutely sorted. And you're going to win a lot of games. But actually, even in terms of just general tournaments, the metagame and all of that, this is great. Along with Iron Crown, this is really showing to be one of the best decks post-rotation. Iron Crown lets you do extra damage, 20 more for each of your future Pokemon's attacks. And you've also got, don't forget, Future Booster Energy Capsule. And basically, you get Miraidon hitting 80 damage, either 2 Iron Crown or 1 Iron Crown, 1 Energy Capsule, either way is fine. And then you're hitting 80 damage, which gets KOs on little Pokemon and evolving Pokemon. And then you're taking prizes while accelerating energy. And then when you've got all your energy out onto whichever attackers you want, off you go. Kind of Iron Crown and Miraidon are your main Pokemon. And then you can put in basically any attacker you like. The fact that Miraidon's peak acceleration is for a colorless energy is actually huge, because it means you can literally play this as Iron Crown Miraidon and put any future Pokemon in you like, and it will work very, very nicely. In a lot of pre-releases, Koraidon will actually be the better card, but like I say, if you hit a really good future Pokemon, especially in EX, then it switches around. But I think in terms of a 1, 2, 3, 4, I really like the order here. It is Miraidon, Koraidon, Metang, Feraligatr. I often get a bit confused about what exactly the order should be. This is the best I've felt about an order in a long time, but it's also worth noting this is the best set of pre-release promos we've had in a while. In terms of art, I think that's true, but obviously art is subjective. But in terms of how good the cards are, yeah, it's the best we've had in a while. It's amazing, and I love it. But now it's over to you guys. Let me know which of these cards you want to pull. Let me know which are your favourites. Give me your 1 to 4 ranking in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Stegaraptor, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now, and is a very lovely person. They've helped me out with a few things, so shout out to them for being awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.